Inside the secret meeting, Makebi Zulu and John Sangwa's unexpected alliance shocks Zambia. Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of the InspirAfrica official. I'm Nakash. Well, it's been quite a week here in Lusaka, hasn't it? The rains have started early this year, and so too, it seems, have the storms in Zambian politics. Today, we bring you a story that has sent shockwaves through the political establishment. A story about an alliance nobody saw coming. A meeting that happened in the shadows of Zambia's increasingly fractured opposition landscape. A convergence that could reshape the 2026 elections. Picture this: Makebi Zulu, the sharp-tongued lawyer, defender of the late Edgar Lungu, spokesman at the former president's funeral, a man who has stood at the very center of PF power, sitting down with John Sangwa, the constitutional reformist who walked away from a 3-decade legal career to launch a civic revolution. 2 men, 1 room. A consultative meeting that would emerge from behind closed doors to shock a nation. But what brought these 2 figures together? Was this a desperate political marriage of convenience, or something deeper? A strategic alliance forged in the fires of shared frustration with Zambia's current trajectory? Is Makebi Zulu, the PF presidential hopeful, hedging his bets? Is he looking for legitimacy beyond the tainted corridors of his own party? And what about John Sangwa, the man who positioned himself as the antithesis of old politics, the champion of citizen-led renewal? Has he just embraced the very establishment he claimed to reject? Could this meeting signal the beginning of a unified opposition front powerful enough to challenge President Hichilema's UPND in 2026? Or is this simply another chapter in Zambia's endless saga of political alliances that arrive with fanfare and collapse under the weight of ego and ambition? What does this mean for the movement for national renewal, Sangwa's 1 million-strong movement that promised to transform Zambian politics? And more critically, what does this alliance, if that's what it is, mean for a nation tired of political theater and hungry for genuine change? Stay with us as we unpack this explosive development. Join us as we uncover the motives, implications, and reactions surrounding this unexpected alliance. The revelation came to light on November 9, 2025, when prominent lawyer Makebi Zulu took to social media to announce something that immediately caught the attention of political observers across Zambia. Earlier that day, Zulu had convened what he described as a consultative meeting with State Counsel John Sangwa, a man who, just weeks earlier, had stepped away from his prestigious law firm, Simiza, Sangwa and Associates, to dedicate himself fully to political mobilization. The meeting took place in Lusaka, at a location that remains undisclosed, but its timing could not have been more significant. It came barely 2 days after Zulu's return from South Africa, where he had been at the center of intense speculation about his political ambitions. Let me walk you through how we got here. On October 12, 2025, John Sangwa made his bombshell announcement. He was leaving the law firm he co-founded over 3 decades ago to launch the Movement for National Renewal, or MNR. It was, he said, a sacrifice for the greater good of Zambia. Within 2 weeks, on October 23rd, politician Dalika Banda joined the movement, bringing with her grassroots political experience and a recognizable face to what had been primarily a civic initiative. A week later, on October 30th, Jackson Salavwi, president of the Golden Party of Zambia, announced that his party too would align with the MNR. The movement was gaining momentum, positioning itself as a reformist alternative to both the ruling UPND and the fractured opposition. But here's where it gets interesting. While all of this was happening, Makebi Zulu was making his own moves. He had announced his intention to stand for the PF presidency at the party's upcoming General Conference. He was visiting incarcerated PF leaders in Chimbokela Correctional Facility, Raphael Nakasinda, Joseph Malangi, Munir Zulu, and others, pledging solidarity in what he called their trying moment. He was positioning himself as the heir to Edgar Lungu's political legacy, the man who could unite the PF faithful and restore the party's fortunes. And then came November 9th. Makebi Zulu sat down with John Sangwa. The meeting, Zulu later wrote, focused on the growing national sentiment that Zambia requires a renewed trajectory. One anchored in the rule of law, economic revitalization, and a government that genuinely serves its people. The announcement sent ripples through Zambian political circles. Was the PF's rising star courting the opposition's newest and perhaps most principled voice? Was John Sangwa, the man who promised citizens, not politicians, would shape Zambia's future, now negotiating with the very political class he had criticized? Let me share with you Makebi Zulu's own words, because they reveal much about what transpired in that room. In his statement released after the meeting, Zulu wrote, "Earlier today, we convened a consultative meeting with constitutional lawyer and state counsel, Mr. John Sangwa SC, who has taken the commendable initiative to mobilize citizens under a new movement dedicated to advancing constitutionalism, accountability, and meaningful change in anticipation of the 2026 general elections." He continued, "Our deliberations focused on the growing national sentiment that Zambia requires a renewed trajectory, one anchored in the rule of law, economic revitalization, and a government that genuinely serves its people. We took particular interest in understanding the vision and underlying motivations of this movement, and we applaud the effort to reawaken civic consciousness at a time when many citizens feel marginalized and disenchanted." Notice the language here, consultative meeting, took particular interest in understanding the vision. This wasn't a pledge of allegiance. This was, at least on the surface, reconnaissance. Zulu was listening, learning, perhaps evaluating. But then Zulu said something that suggested this was more than just a fact-finding mission. Over recent months, we have received an overwhelming number of appeals from citizens across the country, urging us to consider offering ourselves for higher leadership in 2026. The engagement with State Counsel Sangwa formed part of this wider consultative effort. And here's the key passage. "It is evident that Zambia requires a unity of purpose among all who are committed to justice, fairness, and economic empowerment for our people. Whether through political parties, civic movements, or citizen-led initiatives, the call for genuine transformation is growing louder by the day." He concluded with this promise. "As these consultations progress, we remain firmly guided by the principle that leadership must be rooted in service, not self-interest, in listening, not imposition, and in the restoration of public confidence in our institutions, not their erosion. To the people of Zambia, we wish to reiterate, we are listening. And together, we shall forge a new path, one that restores prosperity, integrity, and enduring hope for our beloved country." Now, John Sangwa himself has been remarkably vocal about what the MNR represents. In his founding statement from October 12th, he declared, "After much reflection and prayer, I have decided to step away from active legal practice at Simiza, Sangwa and Associates, the firm I co-founded and have served faithfully for more than 3 decades. This decision takes effect immediately. Like I have said before, we cannot rebuild Zambia without sacrifice, and my decision to step away from the firm I founded is one such sacrifice, an offering of personal comfort for the greater purpose of national renewal." He emphasized, "My decision is guided by the conviction that Zambia's rebirth requires a moral, civic, and institutional awakening. As part of this national renewal, I will dedicate my time to mobilizing citizens across the country under the banner of the Movement for National Renewal, a civic movement devoted to rebuilding our nation on the foundations of integrity, truth, and constitutional discipline." And here's what Sangwa has said about the MNR's immediate goal. "Our first national goal is to build a movement of at least 1 million citizens committed to renewal, people ready to live and lead by the Constitution. We aim to reach this milestone by December 31st, 2025, marking a new chapter of civic readiness and shared responsibility." In a subsequent interview, Sangwa was even more direct about what this target meant. If his track record does not inspire public confidence, then no amount of words can convince people otherwise. "I admire some of my colleagues who are brave enough to jump in the political arena, form a political party, they are presidents, and so on. But for me, I'm going to test the waters. If I can get 1 million people by December 31st, then I will know that people believe in me. If I fail to get 1 million supporters, I'll know Zambians don't believe in me." When Dalika Banda and Jackson Salavwi joined the MNR, Sangwa used language that now takes on new significance in light of the Zulu meeting. He said, "This partnership is founded on a shared conviction that Zambia's future must be reclaimed by its citizens, not as spectators but as active architects of a just, prosperous, and united republic. This is more than an alliance. It is a national awakening, a solemn call to renewal." So what does all of this mean? Let's dig deeper. First, we need to understand the political landscape into which this meeting erupted. Zambia's opposition is, to put it mildly, in chaos. The United Kwacha Alliance, or UKA, imploded spectacularly when infighting over leadership led to the sidelining of former President Edgar Lungu himself. The opposition United Front is faltering under similar pressures, with Fred Membi, Sequiba Sakota, and Chishala Katika all jockeying for control. Political commentator Madalitso Sinkala, writing in Ilalanga News, described the current state of affairs bluntly. The opposition's biggest enemy isn't the ruling party, but itself. Until ambition yields to discipline and unity, Zambians will continue watching this political circus with bemused detachment, knowing full well that not every alliance is built to last. Some observers have been even harsher about the MNR itself. Critics have called it a coalition of three visionless opportunists, and suggested the alliance was brought in dead. But not everyone shares this cynicism. Supporters of the MNR argue that this is precisely what Zambia needs: a clean break from the politics of patronage and personality cults. They see in Sangwa a man who sacrificed financial security and professional prestige for principle. They see in the 1 million member target a genuine attempt to empower citizens rather than political elites. So where does Makebi Zulu fit into all of this? Some analysts believe Zulu is hedging his bets. The PF is a party in crisis. Many of its senior leaders are behind bars. Edgar Lungu's body remains unburied in South Africa, at the center of a protracted legal and political drama. The party's credibility has been severely damaged by corruption scandals and economic mismanagement during its time in power. Zulu may be calculating that the PF alone cannot win in 2026. By reaching out to Sangwa, he could be positioning himself as a bridge figure, someone who can appeal both to the PF faithful and to voters hungry for something new. But this raises uncomfortable questions for John Sangwa. The entire premise of the MNR is that it represents a break from the old politics. Sangwa has positioned himself as a constitutional purist, someone who believes Zambia's problems stem from the disrespect of institutions, not merely the wrong people in power. By engaging with Makebi Zulu, a man intimately associated with the PF's governance failures, a man who was a minister in Edgar Lungu's government, a man who has defended Lungu's legacy even as that legacy comes under increasing legal and historical scrutiny, does Sangwa risk compromising the very principles on which the MNR was founded? There are also practical concerns. Zulu himself faces questions about his legal status. Reports suggest that police want to have a word with him upon his return to Zambia. His association with the late Edgar Lungu's funeral and the ongoing legal battles surrounding the former president's estate add layers of complexity. And then there's the biggest question of all: what happens next? Zulu said the meeting was part of wider consultative efforts. Does that mean more meetings are planned? Will Zulu formally throw his support behind the MNR? Could he even convince segments of the PF to align with Sangwa's movement? Or was this simply a photo opportunity? A chance for Zulu to burnish his reformist credentials without committing to anything substantive? Whatever the answer, this meeting has illuminated a fundamental tension in Zambian politics. On one hand, there's a genuine desire among many citizens for a politics based on principles rather than personalities, institutions rather than individuals. On the other hand, there's the reality that political change requires coalition building, compromise, and sometimes dealing with imperfect partners. The question facing both Makebi Zulu and John Sangwa, and facing Zambian voters, is whether principled politics can coexist with pragmatic alliance building, or whether the two are fundamentally incompatible. So there you have it, viewers. A meeting that nobody predicted between two men who, on the surface, seem to represent very different visions for Zambia's future. A consultative conversation that has sparked intense debate about the nature of political renewal and the boundaries of acceptable coalition building. We want to hear from you. What do you make of this development? Is Makebi Zulu a genuine seeker of reform, or an opportunist looking for his next political vehicle? Has John Sangwa compromised his principles by meeting with a PF figure, or is this exactly the kind of broad-based consultation Zambia needs? And more fundamentally, can Zambia's opposition put aside egos, histories, and grievances long enough to present a credible alternative to the UPND in 2026? Or are we destined for another cycle of fragmentation and failure? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Let's have a robust, respectful conversation about the future of our democracy. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation into Zambia's political landscape. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of InspirAfrica Official. As always, we're committed to bringing you the stories that matter, the analysis that cuts through the noise, and the conversations that shape our collective future. Until tomorrow, when we return with more compelling content, this is Nakash saying, stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, the power to shape Zambia's destiny belongs to you, the citizen. Good day, and God bless Zambia.